Hello, Namaste and Assalamu Alaikum. This is my second out of three parts on my Aamir series on where he peaked in his movies from the 2000s. And this time we'll be recapping his movie, Taare, Zameen. Unlike the last films we've covered, Aamir isn't technically the main character of this film, but he does play a huge role. In fact, the main character isn't even an adult. It's a 10-year-old Darshil Safari playing the role of Ishan in his debut film. Ishan is a child with dyslexia, making his grades go bad. However, his parents believe he's purposely acting dumb, so they send him to a boarding school where he meets a teacher who would change his life. Since I don't really have an intro for my videos yet, let's dive into a world where every child is special. The year is 2006 and Aamir Khan and his production studio want to make a film highlighting the importance of children who struggle with school and raise awareness about dyslexia. By December of 2007, the film was complete and released, directed by the man Aamir himself, as well as his close friend Amol Gupta. Taare Zameen Par, meaning Stars on Earth, isn't an entertaining film, but an informative one. Aamir's role in the film isn't an action hero or a romantic lead, but a fatherly figure that Ishan needs in life that will ultimately change it. But before we start, please consider subscribing, as these videos take a while to make, and I really appreciate it. Anyways, enough gupshup, let's watch. The movie begins, not with a title card for once, but with a bunch of random numbers and letters flying all over the place, giving us an insight to how the world looks like from our protagonist's perspective. Then we see our boy Ishan, who has a makeshift fishing net and dips it in the water to catch fish that he can collect for home. But the fish distract him from the bus driver honking, so a teacher drags him on, so he can finally leave school. Don't worry bro, I never like catching the bus either. Now as we zoom into the fishies, it's the title card. As Ishan returns home, instead of giving some exam papers to go back from school to his parents, he gives it to the dogs instead, turning "my dog ate my homework" into "my dog ate my marks." But trust me bro, people are gonna find out eventually. But who cares, as now he's home, he immediately runs to pour his fish in the bowl. Then we meet his mum, who tells him to wash his hands before eating, but he won't listen to that. Then we meet the brother, Johan, who's basically topped all his classes, and is the academic one out of the two. Anyways, Ishan starts to play with the dogs outside when all the neighbors' kids are playing cricket. The ball lands near him, so they tell him to throw it, but he misses and it goes over the fence. This fat ass, sorry, this kid yells at Ishan and calls him a moron, but Ishan doesn't having any of it, so he attacks him. Then they start brawling, where Ishan gets hit in the head and the kid gets bitten. Then Ishan runs off and goes to the roof to calm down, but on his way back he hears that child's parents arguing with his over him getting bitten. Hey man, he started it. But that doesn't matter, because his father, Nand Kishore, played by Vipin Sharma, calls him inside just to slap him, then yells at him that he's fed up with school, neighbors, and everyone complaining about him and his behavior. So he tells him that one more complaint and it's boarding school for him. So Ishan gets cleaned up and the next day we get a montage of a regular morning for Ishan's family, with the song Jame Raho. With his father going to work, mother preparing breakfast and lunch, Johan studying, and Ishan who's still asleep. With a pretty accurate room. Anyways, as he's daydreaming while having breakfast, he nearly misses his bus again, but not before jumping into a muddy pole first, getting his shoes dirty, so once he arrives at school, he gets put aside by a uniformed detective. Then we have an English lesson. Have fun. While Ishan is daydreaming, in class he gets told to find the adjective in the page, but he simply has no clue what it is, and says that the letters are dancing, but gives it a go. And gets sent out, since the teacher thought he was trying to be funny. While outside after some dancing, comes back in for math, even more fun, where he gets told that was homework that he never did, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. So while everyone's laughing at him, he decides to ditch class before his teacher arrives, and goes out on the streets, which I wouldn't have done till I was 15. This kid's 10. Now out on the road, he explores the world around him, like watching construction workers, ice cream that falls, water that also fails, and falls asleep and wakes up on the bus that picks up his school and is heading home. At home he starts painting, then it's time for his spelling practice with his mother, where he apparently is still making the same writing mistakes he's always been, and hasn't learned. That night he happily tells Johan about how he skipped the whole day at school, to which Johan immediately tells him how dangerous that was. But Ishan begs him to write an absent note on behalf of him, and after some hesitation and back and forth, he agrees. The next day, after handing in the note, it turns out there's a surprise math test. Hooray. And the test's first question is 3 times 9 equals what? So we dive into his brain, where he's a cowboy in a spaceship, who after fighting some asteroids, he gets the answer to 3 times 9. 3. But before we start the second question, time's up. But he believes he nails it. Anyways, next day, Ishan's father arrives back from work, and after a short bonding session, Ishan goes to eat breakfast, and his father finds the absent note. Uh-oh. And after his mother denies to write it, his father gets angry again and demands to know where Ishan went, and who wrote the note. Then he admits that he went on the street, and they get even more angry at him. But he refuses to tell who wrote the note. So off to his school they go, double uh-oh. During the meeting, the teachers are saying that he's constantly making the same mistakes and never learns. Then they tell him about the math test, remind him about the exams and parent signature notes that Ishan never gave. Triple uh-oh. Then they question that Ishan might need special attention, but his father refuses it, as he believes it's just Ishan's attitude that needs fixing. And on the way back, he says it's off to boarding school for him. Next morning, he's woken up by a nightmare of him losing his mum at a train station going to the boarding school, and when he wakes up, he begs not to go, but knows he has no choice. And that night, during a Diwali party, he chucks fireworks at his neighbor kids, who are poking fun at him for having to go to a boarding school. Next day, it's boarding school time, and he is shown around by this guy, the principal. After the tour, he stands there watching his mother and brother crying, as they have to leave him there, but his father believes it's the right thing to do, and drives off. Now all sad, we get the song Mama in the background. As we see how life in boarding school is. I mean, come on, this looks like a prison. The next day, he immediately gets moved to the front seat, as the teachers think he has an attitude problem. And he sits next to this kid, Rajan, played by Taare, who's a disabled but very intellectual kid, whose parents just work at a boarding school, so he basically studies there. And he befriends Ishan. Anyways, English doesn't go as pleasant, hopefully art gets better. Never mind. Neither does the marching practice, or math, or any subject, as he's always getting sent out or yelled at. So after a few days, his parents come to visit him, and he lets all his emotions out by running in circles, like a lot. Where his parents make agreement with the school that he gets to stay at home every Saturday night. And Johan goes gift for him. Cool. But in the morning he immediately gets sent back. But things aren't all bad, as Rajan tells him that they have a new art teacher, while their one's in New Zealand. This is where the turning point begins, and the teacher's no other than Aamir himself, playing Mr. Nakumb, who sings the song Bum Bum Bole with his class. Everyone besides Ishan is singing, because he just isn't feeling it. Then it's art time, where they all get told to make whatever they want. But Ishan just doesn't scribble or do anything this time. And Mr. Nakumb believes that he just doesn't like drawing, showing how the world has truly broke him. And then he gets a call that his mum won't be picking up on Saturday, as they're busy. Great. During a teacher meeting, everyone tells Mr. Nakumb that his way of teaching isn't as strict as they want it to be, and the school's about discipline. So he proceeds to, before bumping into Ishan, who has been sent out of another class, and is too afraid to speak to Mr. Nakumb, afraid that he'll get yelled again. So he goes and speaks to Rajan about Ishan, and asks him everything he knows about him. After he learns about his problem to read and write, he checks over his books, and believes he knows what's going on. He then goes to his other job, working with kids who have special needs at their school, along with his wife, Zameen, and still an amazing teacher. Then we watch a performance with the song Taare Zameen Par. Taare Zameen Par while cutting back and forth between Ishan looking outside and Johan not playing his best, as he isn't okay with not having his brother with him. That night, Mr. Nakumb arrives at Ishan's house to explain his struggles. After seeing his old books, he finds a painting and gets told Ishan loves painting. Then as he explores his room, he sees the boy Ishan used to be, and is determined to bring that creativity back into him. Then he has a talk with the family, and asks why he was sent away. His father replies it's just his attitude, and he's doing it on purpose. Mr. Nakumb denies this, and says Ishan has a dyslexia that makes it hard for him to learn academically, and even for everyday things such as catching a ball, tying shoes, or catching a bus. By the end of the conversation, Ishan's father believes being dyslexic means his son is mentally ill and has no future for him. But then Mr. Nakum calls him out for not caring and proves that Ishan's mind is capable of much more than he thought, and that he just needs to be taught the right way. Then he leaves. Angry, he lets his frustration out with his wife, who calms him down while they're gardening together. Then at school, it's story time, where he tells the story of a boy who couldn't read or write and was bullied about it. That boy was Albert Einstein, a brilliant scientist who was praised by the world years later and even to this day. After he teaches a class about more and more popular people who change the world even though they're dyslexic, after a long time, Ishan begins to smile, and he secretly reveals to Ishan too that he's dyslexic. Anyways, they all go outside to create whatever they feel like, and Ishan makes a boat that sails on water. After seeing his intelligence, Mr. Nakum convinces the principal for him to have extra study time with Ishan to help him with reading and writing. So he begins, and we get a montage with it. And we watch as Ishan dramatically changes and improves. And now, thanks to Mr. Nakum, we have a painting competition at the school. That day, Ishan's dad comes to visit to clear things up with Mr. Nakum, and I want him to think of him as a bad parent who doesn't care. So after he softly scolds him, telling him he never cared, Ishan's father leaves, and sees Ishan finally reading, and gets really emotional and runs off to work. The next day, Ishan wakes up early and goes to the nearby lake, because today is the painting competition day, where all the children, teachers, and principal decide to join to win. Once the competition starts, everyone begins, but Mr. Nakum can't seem to find Ishan. Here he is. He was just hiding at a quiet spot to find a place to think about what he's gonna paint. So he gives him his supplies, but instead of sitting down with everyone else, he sits down by himself, because he's more happier. Then we have scenes of everyone trying their best and simply just having fun. Once Ishan's done, he shows Mr. Nakum and is amazed. And then we see his painting. It's of Ishan. And he starts getting emotional too. Once the time's up, the principal first tells everyone that Mr. Nakum will be permanently staying at the school. Hooray! And the judge, this lady, has chosen a winner that has beaten Mr. Nakum's painting. And that's no other than Ishan. So everyone starts cheering, but it's too much for him. But after some time, he gets the courage to stand up and collect his award, but not before running into the arms of the man who changed his life. Now it's the end of the year and summer holiday time, where Ishan's parents get told of their son's improvements and thank Mr. Nakum for everything. His dad even starts crying and hugging him. Then Ishan says goodbye to Rohan and his favourite teacher before heading home. The end. Now that was an inspirational film. The acting, filming, dialogue, and especially emotions were on point. Like, come on, I think everyone has cried while watching this film for the first time. We watch as a 10-year-old boy who has everyone against him learns to overcome his challenges and grow into a better version of himself. Taare Zameen Par is the film that leaves a strong message with its every child is special, making it not only enjoyable but also memorable, and I believe Aamir and Gupta did an amazing job highlighting the awareness for dyslexia. Darshil Safri also does an amazing job playing Ishan, a broken and lost boy who's full of wonder and creativity. Aamir wasn't a muscular, heroic lead, but a soft and caring father figure that Ishan needed in his life. Also, like, he's just the coolest dad, am I right? The filming of this movie was done in India, at Panchgani, Maharashtra, and Mumbai. The film was also produced with a budget of 12 crore and ended up making a whopping 98 crore. That's over 8 times what it took to make. This film is credited as a cultural milestone that brought something that may not have been as important to the light. Also, the songs in this movie were just amazing, such as Bam Bam Bole, Jo Me Raho, Ma, etc. This film was also Aamir's directional debut, as after 1 week he started directing, instead of Amel Gupta. Darshil Safri was also chosen from over 5,000 students who auditioned for the role of Ishan. Make him have a few movies afterwards as well. Salman Khan was the one who chose the name Taare Zameen Par, which shocked me when I first realized. The paintings in this movie were also real, and mainly done by Amel Gupta, the director. And 18 years later, Taare Zameen Par was released, which is a spiritual successor to Taare Zameen Par, also starring Aamir Khan as the teacher. This emotional rollercoaster of a film was also nominated for 11 Filmfare Awards and won a SL 5, which are Best Lyricist, Story, Actor, Film and Director. Anyways, as this was one of Aamir's biggest hits, the next one we'll be recapping was even bigger. and that is Three Idiots. But for now, this has been Taare Zameen Par. Thanks for watching.
देखो देखो क्या वो पेड़ है, चादर ओढ़े या खड़ा कोई। हे देखो देखो क्या वो पेड़ है, चादर ओढ़े या खड़ा कोई। बारिश है या आसमान ने छोड़ दिए हैं नल खुले कहीं। हाँ हम जैसे देखे ये जहां है वैसा ही, जैसी नजर अपनी खुल के सोचे आओ, पंख जरा फैलाओ, रंग नए बिखराओ, चलो 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 नए ख्वाब बुन ले।